All right, so good morning, everyone. Today, I actually have the pleasure of interviewing Alan Christian here in person. We've actually known each other digitally for a long time, but this is the first time he's been able to make it out to Colorado to visit me. So we're going to talk a little bit about his experience with video, and in particular, he used to have a lot of hangups getting started with video, but there was a certain point where he worked through that, and now he uses video a whole ton. So we're going to talk to him about kind of the before and after that he's been through. But first off, I'll just kind of let you introduce yourself and give us a brief overview of your journey and your story with video.
Awesome. Hey, I'm Alan Christian. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, officially Roswell. I'm in the mortgage industry. And I used video on a limited basis with one of the programs in our industry, but not on a very big scale. And I was looking to take that to the next level and use it a whole lot more. I started playing with YouTube, playing with Vimeo. I didn't really know where to go. And I finally heard about something called BombBomb, which is a video service. And when I knew I needed to do it, and I basically just went all in. And it took about 3 months to go all in. I did have all these hangups and fears and all these things I was saying to myself in my head, and I was frozen. And I finally stepped through that. And it's really been a journey of not even really a full year yet. And it's been a complete game changer on my business, my relationships, my connection. It's been a great experience.
So next thing I want to do is I want to spend some time talking about your self-talk before you kind of made this all-in jump into the world of video, right? Versus what your self-talk is like now that you've committed and you've jumped in. So I think what I've done is I made a little list here, right? And you notice me using this cheat sheet here of different scenarios, different things that happen. And I want to ask you how you would have reacted and responded back in the day before, you got used to using video, and then what it sounds like now.
Got it.
So first one, let's say you're doing a video and similar to the way I just did 3 seconds ago, right? You misspeak, you stumble on your words, and you have to stop and fix your sentence. What kind of self-talk would be running through your head back when you first got started with video?
What happened when I first started, and actually what happened still this morning. What are people going to say about me? Did I say did my hair look right? Was the lighting right? What are the critics going to say? What are my friends going to say? Because sometimes those are the ones that are the hardest critics. What's my family going to say? And that's been some of the hardest for me. Why would they want to look at my stuff? Why me? So all that was going through my head. It was all self-doubt that I'm not good enough, and there's just really not a real message. And I froze. And I put a video out yesterday. And literally this morning before we came to meet, I was sitting there thinking, I wonder how that's being received and who are the handful of people that may have a negative comment. And I get them every once in a while, but I got a text message this morning of somebody that saw it and I almost cried. Seriously, there's a message out there, but it's a slow step going through that.
It's interesting.
Seriously.
So some of that self-talk is still happening.
Oh, I mean, we are a creature of nature, and it's always going to be there. I mean, it's just, we're always saying that. Anybody that tells you, man, I'm conquering the world and I've got it, they still have that going through their head. And it's still going on, but it's how do you address that and how do you work through that?
Interesting. All right. Anything particular you can share about in the past, those self-doubts used to overtake you and hold you back, where now you find ways to work through those self-doubts? Anything particular you can tell people that helps work through that when those voices are running through your head?
Here's really what I've gotten to. I'm passionate about what I do. I have a message. When I first started sending them out, I started getting some good comments. And you know what? The one or two or three people that may a friend you see in the community may joke about, I saw your video. And that was what was kind of holding me back a little bit. But then when I started getting 3, 4, 5 messages from people that saw my video and said that really impacted them, I needed to say, you know what, I'm more about impacting and helping and encouraging somebody else than worrying about the 2 or 3 people. That's all they've got to do anyway. So I just realized I'm taking it off of me. I'm putting it on somebody else. And I'm just having to say, I'm not going to worry what you do. And also, I don't go back and watch my stuff too much because that'll mess me up.
Yeah.
But it still goes through my head. But it is about, was there a message there that impacted and helped somebody else? And that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. So interesting there. Did you find that then and even now, the biggest fears you had, was it fear of the people that you knew fairly well and what they would think and they would say? Or was it fear of total strangers and internet trolls that was the big fear?
Oh no, it's my sphere. It was the stranger. I find it easier to go talk in front of 500 people than talk in front of my 5 friends that I went to high school with.
Yeah.
But it was because the person that's closer to you, those are the messages that could hurt the most. I had family members that kind of joked, I saw your video, and they were kind of jabbing, but I think they were also kind of jabbing because maybe they were uncomfortable that I was truly stepping out to try to better myself. So that went on. That's
interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the closed circle. That was the one that I thought about the most, because I do a lot in my community and I see a lot of folks, and 1 or 2 people will comment, but they're the same 1 or 2 people that negatively comment on everything. That's just who they are. But I had to accept that and look at it and say, there's people like that. But then when you start getting random people that you did not know were watching your video, and they come up to you in the community, or they shoot you a message and say, that impacted me. And you're thinking, I don't really even know you, but that impacted you in a positive way. That encourages me.
That's so interesting. So I think I've kind of experienced something similar, where when I go to do big, bold moves in my life or career, a year ago today, I started posting very regularly on LinkedIn. That felt weird for me, right? I've never really been a social media person before. Just a month or 2 ago, I started this podcast and YouTube channel. That feels really weird. It has always been the judgment of the people not really, really close to me, like my best friends and my family. I don't think I'm too worried about them. I know they'll support me no matter what, but it's the people who I know, but like aren't super close, right? My coworkers, my colleagues, people I worked with at previous jobs, that level of connection to me, those are the ones I was really scared about, right? Because they know me well enough to know that this isn't me, that I'm not a big shot like this. They know me well enough to know that I'm a nobody and that I have no business hosting my own podcast.
Very good point.
Strangers are totally willing to accept that, okay, this is a guy who hosts a podcast, no big deal. But it's like people who know you kind of well, but aren't like completely and wholly in your corner, they seem to be the ones that create the biggest anxiety. And I actually thought I guess I didn't think I was alone in that, but I never really thought about it. So it's interesting to hear that you had the same experience.
Just recently. And you're basically talking about almost level 2 of a friendship.
Yeah.
I had my sales manager when I started my mortgage career. My sales manager saw me, as a little kid getting in the industry, and I was learning and I was calling for help. And he reached out to me just recently and said, I've been following you for a year, watching your videos. Will you help me? Because everybody in the community that knew you before is bragging on what you're doing. But those were the people that I was most, and you're right, because the family's there, but it is that next level of your coworkers that saw you. Well, you were just some guy back in the corner.
Yeah.
Who are you? And that's what I go back to. Who am I to put a message out that somebody's going to want to watch it? But I just had that happen. And it was such a humbling experience to say, okay, there's a message out there and it's worth putting out. Interesting you say that.
That's so cool. Well, encouragement for all you guys. Your person is out there, right? You just got to get active and get visible, and you're going to be with that. Someone telling you, hey, I've been following you for a year. All right, cool. So let's say, let's another hypothetical scenario. All right. So let's say it's January. Holidays are wrapping up. You've been eating yourself silly for 2 straight months. You step on the scale and you go, holy crap. Did I really gain that much weight?
Right.
And then you get on camera and you look at the camera and go, oh, well, that's where I gained it. What's your self-talk sound like a couple of years ago versus how do you work through something like that now?
My self-talk before was, I don't look good enough. My hair's not right. I'm getting older. I don't look like I did 15 years ago. I used to be whatever. So I went through all that. But then the purpose of the video to me is, and this was the message I got last night. A high school friend saw one of my videos and he sent the message and he said, Alan, this is what I loved about you in high school. And what I love about what you're doing now is you're real, you're genuine, and you're authentic. And, we're not perfect. And it's a lie when we say we're perfect. And for our friends or others watching this, they're not perfect either. And they know they're not perfect. And sometimes when you make a mistake or maybe you don't look your best, that is actually more relatable and approachable than somebody that's in a beautiful production and they have the cosmetics in their hair. Oh, that's not the same thing. And I think that's the purpose of what we're trying to do with this video movement. I want to be real and connect. So if I gain some weight or lost weight or I got a black eye or whatever, that's who I am. And that's what makes people connect with you.
So cool. So you mean the compliments you're getting weren't, Alan, you got an amazing microphone and I love the lighting.
Never. Never.
Yeah.
But that is something that I spent, when I mentioned 3 months, I spent literally 3 months looking at cameras and lights and all this garbage. None of that matters. It's just getting started and sending your message out.
So cool. Yeah, I mean, this video here, although I'm really not happy with the fact that we're a little bit out of focus right now, but this video here is taken on like a $50 Logitech camera. If I were to like mess around with it a bit more, I could probably get the focus a bit better. This microphone here is probably like 20 bucks. So you don't need a lot of equipment. And even for most videos, you need less than what I have right now. And this is less than $100 of equipment.
Right.
But just the phone's probably good enough for most people to get started.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say you want to put some content out there on social media, YouTube, Facebook, what have you, and you're having a hard time thinking of what the heck to even talk about. What sort of thoughts would you be trapped in before, and how do you handle something like that now?
The content thing was big, and that's what a lot of people freeze with. They're thinking, I don't know what I'm going to say. What do I put out? What matters? And I was stuck with that. And now it's like every day 5 things come out of my head. I'm like this because no matter what you're doing, it's not some special thing. It's just what's on your heart. What was a thought that came up this morning about your family, your work, your community, whatever you're doing that just made you pause for a minute and think? You'd be surprised how many other people will be attracted to that.
Yeah. I think the same thing happened with me when I, started putting content out a year ago on LinkedIn regularly. I was really scared that I'd run out of things to say, right? Because I only had 6 ideas and I was like, okay, well, that'll take me 6 weeks. What do I do next?
Right.
But you're right. Like as you get in this content production mindset, you start to notice things, you start to see things, your brain starts to pick up on things that you're noticing, that you're hearing. And I highly recommend anyone out there have either like notes on their phone, or in my case, it's a Google Drive document. And as I'm going throughout the day, eating my lunch and I think of something, I'll bust out that Google Drive document, leave the note for myself.
Right.
So that, on Thursday or when I'm recording my content, I got a list of ideas and I didn't forget them.
Yep.
All right. So let's say you put a video out there and maybe you're sending some videos out through BombBomb, through an email, maybe you're putting it out on social media.
Right.
But one way or another, nobody's watching the videos.
Mm-hmm.
Super low engagement. What would that do to your self-talk before, and how do you deal with that now?
One of the mistakes I made, and I still check it now, doing tracking, but you will look at, say, well, people look at it every day. Did I get, how much views did I get? How much engagement am I getting? And you'd be surprised. Sometimes you send a video out and there's not much engagement as far as any likes or comments or anything. And you're thinking, well, nobody looked at it. Then you've got another one that's got a ton of likes and comments. So you think that really was the one. But for some reason, that first video that didn't get as much engagement, that's the one that people call you about, the ones that you see in the community that reach out to you. Because for whatever reason, maybe there was nothing in there that made them comment on it, but they watched it and they saw it. And that is one of the things that's been really interesting to me, because I'm thinking, okay, I got a lot of engagement on this one, but that's not what people are asking me about. That was not the one that made the big impact for whatever reason. So I just send it out. I still look at it periodically. And that's why I mentioned this morning, I looked at the video. I'm like, how many people have looked at it? I'm like, and I'm trying to even wean myself to not look at it at all.
Yeah. What's
making traction. But still, I looked at it this morning and thought, I didn't get as much, but I got some personal messages sent to me that were very heartfelt and said, okay, you know what? Stop looking at the content, just send it out. Your message is there and it will evolve through time.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing. A lot of people struggle, especially getting started, right? Yeah. If you were to go look at, my YouTube channel right now, it's pitiful how low the engagement is. Hopefully by the time you're listening to this episode, it's been a year and now I'm fabulously famous. But maybe that won't happen. But you have to
No, it will.
There we go. Got to put this out in the universe. Absolutely. A year from now, I'm going to be a star. So anyways, you've got to find your reason for doing it other than the vanity metrics, the likes, the comments, the shares, right? Those things are so rewarding. And like emotionally and chemically when you see that
Sure.
engagement, see those likes, those notifications. I mean, there's some really, really smart people who build these social media platforms to make us hooked on that engagement. But you have to find your reason for doing it outside of that. And I think that that's helped me a ton because, again, right now, nobody's watching, nobody's listening. I'm still getting started with this, so I'm not too worried about it. But you definitely do have to find your why outside of getting engagement.
And the fun thing is, as you're watching this a couple of years from now, as this grows and evolves, this may be the video you look back to and say, can you believe what we put out? but it's a start. It's a start.
Like I said, in particular, this darn camera lens. I don't know why it won't focus when we're outside of 5 feet. It was good this morning, but when I tested it, now it's out of focus. Yeah. Oh, well. All right. So another scenario that people run into, have you ever gone on social media and seen someone else, maybe who's like in your space, another mortgage person, putting out video content, and you're thinking to yourself, darn it, they're doing so much better than I'm doing. And if that's happened to you, again, what did that self-talk sound like in the past? And then what do you find yourself a slightly healthier version of that self-talk is now? I
see that right now. I have friends that are putting out what I look at initially in better content, better quality. Everything about it is just really, really sharp. But I said, that's not where I am right now. I'm just not at the stage where I'm just not ready to go to that next point. And I have gotten comfortable to say, this is what I'm comfortable with. This is who I am. This is where I am right now. And yeah, I do look at their stuff and say, hey, that's cool. And maybe I'll use some of their information. These are friends of mine, but maybe I'll use it, but it's going to be my spin on it because it can be the same message with two different people. That's watching a movie. Same message, two different people. One is unbelievably professional, nice and great. And then here's Alan in his blue jeans in the backyard with my kids. Who are they going to relate to? And it's all about who do they want to listen to? Who they want to connect with? So I don't care anymore. It does not matter to me. It took a while to get there, but I'm still going to send it out because once again, I feel like the more real, raw, and authentic they are, I do think there's more of a connection with that. I'm kind of looking at that right now. So I just keep going with them.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think, again, for myself, I wouldn't have to look far to find people with YouTube channels a lot better put together than mine, right? But I just try to focus on the value I'm delivering. Sure. Try to make sure that the quality is good enough that it can be consumed. I'm not really happy with this blurry video, but ultimately I don't think it changes the value being provided in this video for you. Mm-hmm. So try to focus on that, the value you're providing. Try to make sure your quality is at least good enough, it's passable, right? But then from there, just focus on the value, focus on the human connection, stuff like that.
Right,
that helps me.
Right.
All right, I don't know about a scenario, but what a lot of people go through, and I think you've even alluded to it a little bit already, a lot of the self-talk, especially when you're talking about posting content publicly on YouTube or Facebook, something like that, a lot of what people feel is this sense of who am I to talk about this stuff and who really cares what I have to say, right?
Right.
Does that resonate with you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is a strange one I came to terms with about halfway through this year as I'm going real deep on it. I have found that it's kind of easy to hide behind video. So I'm not really in front of 100 people talking to them personally, but I'm shooting a video. So I'm not really seeing these people. I'm not really talking directly to them. So it's like closing your door in your office and there's nobody there and you can talk on the phone, you can shoot a video. There's nothing uncomfortable about that. I believe in my message. I believe in sharing my heart. Will that one message touch anybody? Maybe, maybe not, but I'm continuing to pursue that and sharing it. And you're slowly, as you're building it, you're getting feedback on it, but I've stopped worrying. I'm just going to put it out, not check it, much as I can, and just keep going with it.
It's cool. So I mentioned before, you got to find your reason why for producing video other than the engagement and the results.
Sure.
What are your reasons why you send videos, you produce videos other than the results it gets you?
Well, number one, it initially started out for promotion for me and my community. I wanted to just get my name out because I'm trying to build a brand, build who I am. But then it's kind of morphed outside of that. The ones that go out and they're always pushing a product or sales, or they're trying to build a money-making machine. That's cool. That's totally cool. That's not what I'm doing. So it started out initially that I wanted to get my name out there, but now it's completely turned. I'm all about promoting, uplifting, encouraging, and kind of like there's something called the Be Nice movement. I want to impact my community. I want to impact people around me in a positive, good way. So now when I send content out, if you go look at my stuff, most of it, you're not going to find anything negative on there. It's all about encouraging and supporting and hoping that the people see it, have a better day, have a better outlook. So it's turned into something a whole lot bigger. And that's really my push. If I send a message out and 5 people saw it today and it made an impact on their life, hey, it was a good morning.
So cool. Well, I think that's enough for that segment. I guess the last thing we'll talk about here is you've been doing video for less than a year, right? A lot of it through personal video messages, through email, a lot of it through public posting. If you had to summarize what benefits you've seen to your business from using video, what would you say?
It's been exponential. And the biggest for me for doing video, and I've done it on a mass scale, terms kind of called evergreen. So I'm shooting out, so if it's YouTube or Facebook, to a large scale. But the biggest for me is I started sharing about myself. It wasn't just about business. I started sharing who I was as a person. And that's where I said, you know what, there's going to be people that like me and there's going to be people that are not. And that's okay. And I'm totally fine with that. But I also said, I need to start sharing a little bit more about who I am so that these folks may find a connection and realize, hey, Alan's a good guy. He's my neighbor. He's in the community and somebody I trust. And hey, when I'm needing his service in the mortgage industry, I'm going to give him a phone call. So it turned into me sharing who I am and opening myself up. And that was uncomfortable. I will tell you, that was uncomfortable. Like, who cares anything about me? But those are the number one messages that I get, are people saying, you shared, one of your mistakes, you shared one of your faults, you shared something that you're trying to struggle to work through, you shared how you helped somebody, and somebody watches that and they can relate to it. And that's the big difference. It's made me more personal in the community, but it's let people realize who I am as a person. And that's what I'm after. Real, raw, and authentic.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Alan. I really did enjoy talking. If somebody wants to connect with you on social media or get in contact with you for any way, what's the best way for them to do that?
Just pull up Alan Christian on Facebook. I'm in Roswell, Georgia. Most of my stuff is on a public page because there's really I don't hide anything. I am who I am on Sunday, Monday, Friday, and Saturday. So feel free to pull that up, and then all my information is on that page. You can reach out to me if you want to. And YouTube channel. And I'm not where I want to be yet. I have a YouTube channel that I'm about to launch because I know that's where I need to be. So I'm not there yet either. So that will be coming shortly too.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, Alan.
Thank you.